welcome to another episode of Sing Out Saturday. I'm Kim from InspiredToSing.com and I am here answering your questions about singing and the voice. So if you have any, please let me know. Leave a comment below, flick me an email, head to my website, reply to a newsletter. Any way that you want to get in contact with me and ask me a question, I would love to hear from you. So today's question comes from Teresa, and Teresa was asking me, how do we keep our passion for singing or get it back once we've lost it? And this really hit home for me. I've experienced this myself a number of times in my lifetime already. And one of the hardest ones was when I was actually studying music at university. And I don't know if any of you guys have felt this, but when you sort of are thrust into really heavy theory-based learning, or maybe you've done exams or competitions, when they make it more of a serious activity, it kind of starts to take a little bit of the fun out of it, a little bit of the joy out of it. So while I was in university, I got through the first year of my music degree and I thought, I'm going to quit. I hate this. I love to sing and I always have since I was a kid, but this isn't really what I signed up for. So I've definitely experienced that. I did a few different things in order to try and get my passion back. And some of those I'm going to talk to you about today. So if you're feeling like all of the joy and the passion and the excitement has been taken out of singing for you, or you feel like you're just on the edge of that now, please listen in and please also give me your feedback. Have you got any things that you're trying out that are helping you? So the first thing that I would like to say is get back to your why. Why did you want to sing in the first place? Like, what sparked it? What was that magic moment where you discovered singing and it lit you up? So why do you do it? Why do you want to continue doing it? Is it just for you? Is it more about sharing it with others? Is it that sort of nervous excitement that you get when you perform? Is it that you are in a choir or in a musical group and it's more about the community? So really start to think about why you're doing this, because that's something that we can really lose sight of when we're kind of caught up in our own little world and our own little, ego is berating us for not doing this or not being here or not achieving this or not being at this level. We don't really connect to the heart of it. So why we're doing this, where the passion originated. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that you might need to set some fresh singing goals. So I've actually got a live class, absolutely free live class that you can sign up for on the 12th of December. So not far away now. It's on the 11th for the Northern Hemisphere and the 12th for the Southern Hemisphere. So I'm going to be up very early in the morning. Sorry to everybody that's in Australia that has to get up with me. So join me on that class if you're thinking you might need to set yourself some fresh goals, because often we just kind of get in this pattern where we do a practice session, but we don't really have any idea of what we're trying to do or where we're trying to get to. Maybe we just keep going to see our singing teacher and we're not really making the progress that we used to. We're not seeing, new things and new techniques and new tones that we're creating. Maybe we're just getting kind of bored of where we're at and we're coasting a little bit. So that would be the second thing. You might need to set yourself some new exciting goals. So if you're interested in that class, make sure you click below. There's a link to get on my newsletter list, and that will be where all of the information is. So I hope to see you there. The third thing is, are you playing? Like, are you giving yourself permission to have a singing session where you don't analyze your voice, where you don't go, oh my gosh, well that note was a little bit pitchy, or oh, I should really be supporting my voice there, or where was my breathing at? There's way too much mental chatter when we have knowledge about our technique. So I tend to say to my students that knowledge is powerful, but it can also be quite debilitating. And I found that I got to a point where I knew so much about technique that I wasn't able to kind of sink into the music and feel it and forget about that for a while. And so I had to incorporate practice sessions that were purely for my enjoyment. And that can be quite difficult when you're used to judging every rehearsal that you have. But try and play around with it. Do songs that you would never usually do, just so that you can kind of express yourself, feel it a little bit more. Maybe you choose a genre that's completely left of field for you. Maybe you just stick to nursery rhymes, or I tend to do like rap songs because obviously that's not my forte, but I enjoy them because then I'm not thinking, oh gosh, I sound so ridiculous. I'm embarrassing myself. I just enjoy the moment. So make sure that once a week you have a session where you are just singing. And sometimes you might find that that's in the car because you're not able to really sing with great technique when you're not thinking about it, when you're actually focusing on driving. And please focus on driving if you are doing that. Maybe it's in the shower. You know, it doesn't have to be that you set everything up and you put your tape recorder on and you do 25 to 45 minutes of practice. It can be very spontaneous, but enjoy that. Maybe you want to do it with other people. Maybe you want to go out like my students and I did last weekend to karaoke with a few friends. Something where you can really let go and stop judging. As soon as that little judgy voice comes in your head and goes, oh my gosh, you missed that, your placement's not forward enough, blah, 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 turn it down. Just go, not today. You can come back in tomorrow, but today this is for me. So have playful practice sessions. Similarly, along that path, maybe you want to change course. So mix things up a little bit. We're getting more into this idea of spontaneity and not doing the same thing over and over again until you feel like you're just banging your head against a brick wall. Because we get bored and we're not challenged anymore. So maybe you want to explore a completely new style. Maybe you want to start working on riffing, or maybe it's sight reading, or you want to learn music theory. Whatever it is, maybe it's a little piece of the singing puzzle that's missing for you. Maybe it's songwriting or improvisation. Maybe you're doing, working with jazz and you want to learn how to improvise. Maybe it's harmonizing and you join a choir. There are so many different facets to singing. There are so many different little nooks and crannies. Find one that really excites you. Find one that you find challenging and exhilarating, like the first time that you started learning about singing. Because as I said, you don't want to get stuck in this rut where you're just doing the same things over and over. Maybe it's a different register. Maybe you haven't played much with your head voice recently. Dive into that. Find some new artists, find some new songs, find some new inspiration. Maybe you take a lesson with another teacher, overseas via Skype. Maybe you do a course in songwriting online. Maybe you join a forum where you're connecting with other musicians and collaborating on songs or recordings, whatever it is. Really start to think about different sources of inspiration and maybe changing course a little bit. And the last thing is maybe take a short break. And this might sound discouraging, but sometimes we just need a little bit of a breather. I know for me that I was changing course when I was at university. I was studying classical, and then I dipped my toe into the musical theatre world, and then was the lead singer of a Motown band for a while. But in the end, I actually needed to take a few months off singing because it just became such a big part of what I thought my identity was. So I was always known as the girl that sang. And I just wanted some time to explore who I was outside of music. And there's nothing wrong with doing this, especially if you're feeling like you're kind of dragging your feet and you're not as passionate anymore. So maybe just for a couple of months, you take a breather and you explore something completely different as a creative hobby. I mean, it still could be music. You could be learning an instrument. You could learn a language. You could do an art class, a dance class, whatever it is, cooking. But give yourself a little bit of breathing room and permission to do that, because your voice will always be there for you, but you want to really be feeling it and feeling connected to doing that. So feel free to take a bit of a breather, guilt-free. I hope that helped to answer your question, Teresa. Thank you so much for submitting it. If you have a question, please leave a comment below. If you're in this situation, if you feel like you're really stuck and aren't feeling the fire anymore, aren't feeling inspired, let me know. Let me know if you're going to try any of these. Or if you've got yourself out of this, I would love to hear what you did. You can find me on inspiredtosing.com, on Facebook and Twitter, and I hope you'll join me for the live class on the 12th of December. You can sign up at the link below.